essentially what Toyota is nowadays. It's fine, right? It's not bad. It's the most reliable car you could ever own, but it's just it leaves no taste in your mouth. It's just like Hydrox. Like, not Oreo, but it doesn't taste bad, but it was also it's not bad. It's actually the best. But for some reason, it's lacking that sportiness. Like, back in the day, I'm talking like the 90s, right? That's skip before, right? We had the AE86, the Celica, the MR2, the Supra. And then around 2000, Toyota said, nah, this is what we're making. And again, there are two types of people who like Toyota, who like anything. Two types of, you could call them fans. Fans that just feel like they want to be a part of something, and that's why they're, a part of something. Or fans that, actually respect the product, and if the product gets bad, they go away. They're not going to keep making excuses for a certain company. Like, I know I like Vizio televisions. They are my favorite TV brand. Their product sucks. It constantly breaks. I want to love them so much. They have had such a great history. I have so many other TVs, and yet their brand new TVs suck. They're made poorly. They're not aligned well. Just look at the subreddit. It's terrible. They're just the crap brand. They're just a garbage brand, and I should just stop fighting for them, but, I still like them. Toyota, on the other hand, if their cars get bad, I will leave. Toyota, I can respect their heritage, I can buy their used cars, but at the same time, they need to be able to make a good product to earn my fanship. And so you may say, when I said this, like, Toyota's still like this, you may have said, well, what about the Supra, and what about the GR86? Now, the Supra is a good car. The Supra is a fast car. The Supra is a nice car. The Supra is also a BMW. It's, number one, it's not a true Toyota. That's the only thing that bothers me about it. Toyota didn't engineer this. It was not engineered to be a Toyota. This was just Toyota cashing in on the Supra name. This car, again, it's still a perfectly good car. It's a great sports car. It's a great track car. It's built well. But again, it's still not a Toyota. This can be as good of a car as it wants, but in my mind, it's still not a Supra. Now, again, some of the people that say this car is ass, dude. Yeah, it's not a Toyota. I think this is actually a very good and very respectable car. It's just not a Toyota. You know what I mean? And nothing will change that. It's like EVs. You can say whatever you want, Brad. At the end of the day, still not renewable, still not the answer. Anywho, what about the GR86, right? If this isn't, Toyota bringing back the fun era, then what about the G86? What about the entire GR line? Well, the GR86 isn't bad. The Toyota 86 isn't bad. It's just kind of corporate sportness, right? I mean, it's kind of like, it's based off the original Torino, or at least the name is. Again, it's not bad. It's just a little bit corporate. What us Toyota fans have been wanting is a hot hatch, right? We have the Toyota Corolla hatchback in the SE trim. We want something sporty. And in 2019, Toyota hinted at this, a tri-banger hot hatch based off the Yaris. Now, here in the US, we didn't have the Yaris, but we were still hoping, crossing our fingers so hard that the bones broke, that we would get this. Just because it was cool hot hatch, it looked so cool, it looked so grand, we totally wanted it. And we didn't get it at all. We didn't get it. But Toyota never really intended on bringing the GR Yaris to the US. It was really designed to be a foreign vehicle. I mean, just look at the design. It doesn't look like anything that would be released here in the US, especially from Toyota. You know how, like, the Japanese cars just look different from the US ones? Like, the Toyota Wish looks different from the Prius V, even though they're very similar. I like the Wish and the Prius V a lot. Two wacky, weird Toyota fans. Anyway, essentially, the GR Yaris was Toyota resurrecting a certain light in their heritage, a certain string in the ball of yarn that we really wanted back. That sporty, fun, light. It had a small engine. Technically, it had a small engine. The stats sucked, but because it was so light, it was so fun. That's just what made it fun. Just because it was so light, so cute, so little, track car, that's what made it fun. So Toyota, once they saw the outrage, we're not getting this in the USA, fuck you, fuck me, you're Squidward, I'm Squidward, we're all Squidward. Yes, voice critical, yes, I'm using that line. Anyway, once they saw that, they finally gave in. And they gave us the GR Corolla. Now, the GR Corolla isn't as much of a hot hatch as the GR Yaris. The GR Yaris was the original hot hatch. I mean, just look at it. it's a hot hatch. It's 2 doors. That's what it is. This is more a family hot hatch. Still an amazing vehicle. It has an amazing engine. It's overall just an amazing car. It's fast. It's a good track car. And it's designed well. And it's very reliable. I was very happy when this came out. Buyers were out the wazoo. So many people bought it. So many people loved it. This became the new Toyota enthusiast car. This is so bad. You know, I've been thinking, right? So many other car brands. Volkswagen, Volvo, you know, all American brands, most foreign brands, have all been turning to shit lately. They've been building their cars cheaper and cheaper, adding more and more recalls. Kia and Hyundais are catching on fire even faster than they already have. And I was just waiting. I knew Toyota eventually, at some, I don't care if it's 1,000 years from now, Toyota would eventually go the way of the dodo. You know, I don't mean fail as a company. I mean go the way of making cheap, crappy, unreliable cars. I knew that they would, one point in history, I don't care, I don't think they would stay like that for very long. I think they would stop selling cars and then immediately go back to the old way of building things, right? This is that. So, right, number one, if you don't know, the Toyota, a great example. This car, I didn't just pick it because it's bland and boring. I picked it for many different reasons. This was the last time Toyota screwed up for 2 reasons. A, them using a cheaper floor mat that rolled up over the gas pedal, and B, them rushing to design this car, which then ended up not being very reliable. You can watch my video on that if you want the full scoop of the ice cream and not just a little spoonful. So, essentially, this was really the last time Toyota had rushed something, and because they rushed it, it was bad, right? It was unreliable, you know, piston ring problems, oil consumption, this thing downed bottles of oil like water. I mean, it was just nuts. Now, this GR Corolla, they didn't rush it, which is the scariest part. You know, like, Toyota had an excuse for the Camry, this specific model generation. They had an excuse, right? They had rushed it, oh no, and then they finally fixed it. This, not only did this happen, which is bad enough, GR Corolla's catching fire, 1 or 2 of them is bad enough. Toyota not honoring the warranties is extra bad. So this is Toyota getting sloppy. Again, I've been waiting for this automotive, the way that our automotive, like the softball, the way that it's headed right now, to affect Toyota. And it finally has. And come on, man. First of all, what happened was, the motor that he was driving made a weird sound, pulled over, there was a whole, you know, just caught on fire. From your point of view, let's say you were driving that, car's making a weird noise, pull over, check on it, from the back of the engine, starts on fire, boom, your entire car's on fire now. And it looks somewhat like that, right? Or like this. We'll get into that later, right? So, you try and talk to Toyota, right? You're like, hey, Toyota, my car burned down. I was just driving normally. I've only had it for a few months. Honor the warranty and replace it. Toyota won't honor it. Toyota owners lost their cars. 2 owners lost their cars to fire, and both received weird letters from Toyota denying coverage. So not only does Toyota know that they screwed up, obviously they are actively covering it up, but on top of that, they are being crappy to the buyer. So, number one, they're throwing the buyer under the bus by saying, oh, he was driving at 80 miles per hour. So, Toyota is weird, right? Toyota can be very good when they want to. They're smart at making good cars, and they can be just as conniving and use that smartness to be evil when they want to. So, they claimed that he was driving 85 miles per hour, which is the speed he was driving. They found out that that car reached that speed. And then, what happened because of that, they said that's what caused it. The tires, right? The tires weren't good enough. Now, keep in mind, this guy had only had the car for 2 months, and the tires that it was riding on were the original Michelin tires that Toyota had shipped the GR Corolla with, which are track tires, which can resist speeds like 100, I forget it was 100 or 150. Definitely over 85 miles per hour. In fact, most car tires can go over 85 miles per hour. So the excuse that Toyota gave out was completely bullshit. And again, what happened? Toyota doesn't make sense at all. The excuse they did was the tires, and they found out later there was a hole blown in the engine. So how does bad tires make a hole blown in the engine? Toyota did this back-ass thing, like, ugh. You know, they shoved their head so far up their own rear to come up with this lazy-ass excuse. It's like degenerate garbage. Toyota, this is absolutely ridiculous. Number one, you should apologize to these people for being such assholes. Number 2, fully replace their cars. And number 3, issue a recall. If it's happened twice, remember, the GR Corolla hasn't even been out for 2 years. They should definitely issue a recall. Now, first of all, next, right, we're going to look at a Reddit post. My narwhal doesn't bacon at midnight. I am not a Reddit user. But Reddit has the largest collection of people, which means whenever something happens, they usually have the most amount of information. Not the news information where it's just an article stating the blandness, having the Toyota letter in it, and then making some, piss weak takes, like strawberry shortcake takes. Toyota was mean for doing this. Again, I'm not talking about this article. Fantastic article by Christopher Smith. Motor One is always a very reliable source, and unlike all the other websites on the internet, they're not so crazy asking you to subscribe, being nuts. Very good credit to Motor One. I actually read the entire article, very good. It just, they have the boots on the ground experience, right? And here's the apparently the full text from Toyota. You reported that you were driving on the highway and you noticed the vehicle began to make a strange noise, like a rod knocking. Then you noticed the oil temperature was high and the vehicle sounded a warning. You pull over, exited the vehicle, opened the hood, and saw a fire at the rear of the engine. 911 is called and the department arrived in approximately 5 minutes or later to extinguish the flames. You started that approximately 30 days prior to the incident. You had taken the Toyota for dealer for an oil change and a fuel issue that was repaired. A fuel issue. Now, let's just get into that for a second. Again, Reddit, I'm not saying this information is at all correct. This text right here hints that this prediction is quite well, right? And again, this Toyota doing this. Toyota stating exactly what happened is just them trying to make the text longer. It's like when you start every single sentence with, interestingly, just to bring the letter count up. This is essentially what Toyota's doing. They're just, shitting out their own mouth here. Their mouth has diarrhea and it's coming out. Your car, David. They just recite the entire thing. It's just stupid crap. We cannot provide any assistance in this matter. Essentially what they did, they stated exactly what he said, twisted everything he said, and then said, well, the tires and the car and the holes in the engines. Oh, sorry, bud, won't be able to help you. This is an absolutely bullshit response from Toyota. So driving over 85 miles is respected a hole in the engine block. Once this baby hits 88 miles per hour, we're going to see some years. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't think so. The car had accident damage. The tires seemed to be an additional issue that Toyota was using the weasel out of. They're being intentionally vague on the story. Cost them way more than $20,000 to give the guy a new car. This is ridiculous. Now, there's a theory. This is where we're going to end here, but there's actually a theory. I believe our fuel pumps, remember this is in the GR Corolla subreddit, right? Again, a lot of people in Reddit, they have a lot of great stuff. I just use a bunch of alt accounts. I believe fuel pumps are the culprit in the fires. Toyota is now changing my second fuel pump under warranty, which means this car and that fuel error, that mysterious fuel issue, are definitely connected. And again, Toyota went into all of the detail here. They stated exactly what time the 911 fire department arrived. They stated exactly what noise he heard in the car. They stated exactly that the car sounded a warning that the oil temperature was high and that he dialed 911, and yet they won't state what fuel issue it was, just the fuel issue. Toyota's being very vague on purpose. This was very specific. The fire department, 5 minutes later, approximately 5 minutes later, to extinguish the flames. They're sounding all smart here, and then just here. A fuel issue. If this is, again, this is like $20,000 of this personal guy's money on the stake here, and Toyota's saying a fuel, they won't even, so they can do all this tap dancing around the issue, and then they just say a fuel issue. Probably because they knew it would be leaked, and they didn't want it to be connected to the other case, which I'm sure had a lot to do with it. I believe our fuel pumps under warranty, right? Remember, changing their second fuel pump under warranty. The car has been running lean. Running lean is bad because it causes, it can blow a hole in the block. Remember, exactly what happened in the previous case caused fires and many other issues with the engine. High oil pressure, fire, both things that happened in the other thing. Our fuel pumps must be worked our fuel pumps must be overworked under power for this platform. This is very interesting, which means it's better for Toyota because, like I said, the scariest thing about this it wasn't that the GR Corollas are catching on fire. It's a very small model from Toyota. It's sad that this happened, and even sadder that they would reject the warranty. My biggest concern when I heard this first story is, oh my god, Toyota uses the same parts for every single thing. You may know, and this is again like another major Toyota F-up, from about 2009 to 2000 brand right now, they're using TPMS sensors that need to be recalibrated, need to be resensored, they just suck. They constantly fail. They're pieces of shit. They're made out of plastic. They're made cheaply. They're made in China. They're just awful, terrible TPMS sensors. They go wrong. They stay. Ugh. I would know. I've actually had to deal with them on my Prius. Ridiculous. Just stupid. The dealership has no idea what they're doing. It's the most annoying thing I've ever had to deal with. Anyway, that issue is spread across the whole lineup because Toyota is a good car manufacturer. Remember, this is a small inconvenience compared to like BMW or, any other car brand. My engine just randomly blowing up while I'm driving it. Although, with this case, that may be an issue here. Toyota uses parts bins, which is essentially, the exterior may look the same, but in the interior, this is the same as the GR Corolla. Pretty much same engine, same fuel pump, same TPMS sensors, everything that you don't see that doesn't matter if it's different to you, it's probably the same. The trunk locks are probably the same. The door lock actuators are probably the same. That's how Toyota is able to have so many different models across their lineup and not feel it, Different cars like Volkswagen, they just individually design each car to a point, right? Like stupid stuff like, again, TPMS sensors and, mass airflow sensors. Of course they're going to copy that from car to car. But yeah, so I was really worried because if these are catching on fire, that just means every single car in their lineup, if it was an issue with the fuel pump, is the whole thing. That means A86s, Corollas, Corolla hybrids, everything. The entire lineup is now at a huge risk of catching on fire. But nope, it apparently just seems, number one, the fuel pump was used, again, they have like different sizes. I bet this was just they were cheaped out. They used a smaller one on a car that needed a bigger one. That's exactly what's happening. And again, other people are agreeing. I suspect the fuel pump too. May I ask how your dealer identified the issue? Something I want to look out for. They found an open circuit / short in my fuel system that led them to the fuel pump. That's not good. Not at all. Not at all. Just terrible. Anyway, that's where I'm going to end it. Toyota, please. I don't ask a lot of you. Please don't in-shitification yourself, because then I'm going to have to find a new brand and buy a new car. Ugh. Just keep making good cars. Give these people their money back or a new car, whichever one they want. Give them two. You're a billion-dollar company. You can definitely afford it. This is absolutely outrageous, and if Toyota keeps this up, I may be making videos on Volkswagen TDI models from now on. I mean, seriously. Toyota, you think I'm joking? I will start shit with you if you keep doing this. Toyota, if you in-shitify yourself, that means the entire auto industry, not a single car brand is safe from in-shitification. And that's not a world I want to live into, quite frankly.